We're counting down the top 10 most dangerous wild boar hunts ever recorded, where seasoned hunters quickly learn that in the battle between man and beast, the tables can turn in an instant. From nighttime ambushes to chilling jungle attacks and near-fatal standoffs, these incidents reveal the shocking power, cunning, and speed of wild boars when threatened. Which hunt will take the top spot for sheer danger? Let's begin with number 10. In rural Poland, a hunter spotted a wild boar motionless on the forest floor. Believing the animal was dead, he moved in for a photo, only to have the boar explode upward and drive its tusks deep into his leg. The attack left him bleeding and stunned, a stark reminder that a boar lying still is not always lifeless. Sometimes it's just waiting. Stories like this ripple through Eastern European hunting circles, fueling a new rule: never approach a downed boar without confirming from a safe distance. One careless step, and an assumed trophy can become a dangerous adversary. Night hunting in Central Texas has become a high-tech affair, with hunters relying on thermal scopes to spot wild hogs moving through endless rows of corn. But technology can breed a sense of safety that's anything but real. In one case, a 350-pound boar burst out of the darkness, closing the gap before anyone could react. Multiple rifle shots at point-blank range were needed to bring it down. One hunter ended up with a deep gash across his thigh, requiring stitches. Even with the latest gear, thermal optics can't replace old-fashioned caution, especially when wild boar populations keep rising and the cover of night hides more than it reveals. In the tangled green of the Philippine jungle, a line of hunters moved single file, eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. The air was thick and still, every step muffled by layers of damp leaves. Without warning, a 200-pound wild boar broke cover, not from the front, but from behind. Using the dense foliage as a shield, it had circled the group and charged from the rear, catching them completely off guard. The hunters scrambled, forced to react in close quarters where visibility was measured in feet, not yards. In these conditions, even experienced trackers learned the hard way. In thick jungle, the greatest threat can come from behind. Staying alert to every direction isn't just smart, it's survival. In the rolling hills of Tuscany, a driven hunt spiraled into tragedy when a wounded wild boar turned on the very pack meant to flush it from cover. The animal, bleeding but unbroken, charged straight at the hunting dogs, killing two before their owner, Marco B., could intervene. As Marco tried to pull his dogs away, the boar's tusk ripped into his thigh, leaving him severely injured on the forest floor. The story of La Bestia di Siena spread quickly through local villages, fueling heated debates about the risks faced by hunting dogs and the emotional toll on their handlers. In response, some Italian hunters began fitting their dogs with protective vests, a small comfort against an adversary that respects neither tradition nor loyalty. A hunter in the American South slipped on his night vision goggles and crept through the darkness, scanning for movement. Unlike thermal scopes, night vision amplifies ambient light but flattens depth perception, making it hard to judge distance. He lined up on a wild boar, aiming for the heart, but misread the range and hit the animal's shoulder instead. The wounded boar spun and charged, covering 50 yards in a blur. Before the hunter could recover, the boar knocked him flat, tusks flashing in the green glow. His partner, thinking fast, blasted a high-lumen strobe light into the boar's eyes and used a branch to distract it, buying precious seconds. Only then was the animal brought down for good. The lesson traveled quickly through hunting circles. Night vision is no substitute for skill, and every hunter needs a backup plan, and a partner ready to act when technology fails. In the farmlands of southern France, frustration runs deep when wild boars tear through fields, leaving months of labor in ruins. One season, a farmer, fed up with the destruction, joined a local hunt, determined to protect his livelihood. But wild boar hunts are unpredictable, especially for those without years of experience. As the dogs flushed a massive boar from the undergrowth, the animal burst through the line, slammed into the farmer, and sent him crashing to the ground. The impact fractured his ribs and left him gasping in the mud. Before the boar could finish the job, his own dogs intervened, barking and snapping until the beast turned away. The farmer survived, but the lesson was hard-earned. Even with help, wild boar hunting is never just about revenge. It's a test of caution, teamwork, and respect for an adversary that never fights fair. Sub-zero winds sweep across the Russian forest, turning every breath to vapor and every movement into a test of endurance. On this hunt, a team tracked a massive wild boar, estimated at nearly 380 pounds, through snow that reached their knees. The cold bit through layers of clothing, but the real threat moved beneath the drifts. When the hunters finally wounded the boar, it didn't slow or falter. Instead, the animal barreled straight through the snow, plowing forward with astonishing force. One hunter, caught off guard, was slammed into a tree so hard he lost his grip on his rifle. The others scrambled for footing as the boar crashed past, leaving a trail of churned snow and panic. In these conditions, rescue is never quick. Emergency crews can take hours to reach remote winter sites. Out here, deep snow and freezing air don't offer any advantage. If anything, they raise the stakes. A wild boar's drive to survive can turn even the harshest winter into a battleground, where cold and brute strength combine to make escape nearly impossible. Chasing a wounded wild boar with an ATV might sound like a shortcut to success, but on a Texas back road, it turned into a lesson in chaos. Two hunters, adrenaline pumping, closed in on a massive hog as it staggered through the brush. Suddenly, the boar spun on its heels and charged, not away, but straight at the machine. The impact slammed into the side of the ATV, flipping it onto its roof and pinning both men underneath. As they scrambled to free themselves, the boar rammed the overturned vehicle again and again, tusks scraping metal, mud flying. Only after the animal collapsed from its wounds were the hunters able to crawl out, battered and shaken. Emergency crews later reported that both men escaped with bruises and minor cuts, but the ATV was left dented and half buried in the dirt. In the aftermath, stories of the incident raced through local hunting forums, sparking heated debates about the risks of high-speed pursuits and the importance of carrying proper rescue gear. The message was clear. When the chase turns mechanical, the margin for error disappears, and so does any illusion of control. Deep in the German forest, a hunter's GoPro recorded every second as routine gave way to chaos. The plan was simple: flush a boar from cover, take a clean shot, and regroup. But when the animal burst through the undergrowth, the hunter's rifle jammed, leaving him exposed as the massive boar charged. With no time to clear the malfunction, he swung the gun like a club, bracing for impact. The boar slammed into him, tusks scraping as he fought to keep his feet. In those frantic moments, survival depended on more than marksmanship. His partner, just steps away, lined up a side shot and fired, dropping the animal before it could do worse. The footage, raw and unfiltered, now circulates in hunter safety courses across Europe. Trainers freeze the frame on the jammed bolt, reminding every class that even the best gear can fail. Quick thinking, clear communication, and practiced teamwork, not just firepower, are what keep hunters alive when seconds decide everything. Tracking a wounded boar alone in the tangled brush of South Carolina, an experienced hunter followed a thin blood trail into shadows where light barely reached the forest floor. He never saw the 410-pound animal waiting just out of sight. In a flash, the boar lunged, tusks slashing across his thigh and deep into his groin. Blood spurted with every heartbeat. His femoral artery had been severed. The hunter collapsed, fighting to stay conscious as the ground turned slick beneath him. His partner, just yards behind, rushed in and clamped a tourniquet above the wound, hands shaking but steady enough to slow the bleeding. A frantic call to 911 set the rescue in motion. Paramedics arrived in minutes, but the difference between life and death was measured in seconds. Emergency crews stabilized him and rushed him to a trauma center by helicopter. Surgeons credited his survival to the immediate use of a tourniquet, a lesson now drilled into every hunting safety course across the South. In the months that followed, local hunting clubs rewrote their protocols. Trauma kits became standard gear. Hunters trained for arterial bleeds, not just marksmanship. The story of that day, captured in emergency radio logs and whispered at campfires, changed the culture of wild boar hunting in the region. Out here, survival depends not just on skill or courage, but on the friend at your shoulder and the tools in your pack. From a Polish boar playing dead to the blood-chilling South Carolina ambush, this countdown proves that wild boar hunts can turn deadly in an instant. Across all 10 entries, one pattern stands out. It's often the moment a hunter drops their guard, whether due to technology, terrain, or overconfidence, that the tables turn. Repeatedly, wounded or cornered boars displayed surprising intelligence and ferocity, using ambushes, rear attacks, and even environmental cover to their advantage. The top-ranked incidents weren't just the most violent. They changed safety protocols, highlighted the limits of gear, and reinforced the need for teamwork and preparation. What qualifies these moments isn't just the shock factor or the injuries, but how each encounter exposes the unpredictable danger of hunting an animal as adaptable as the wild boar. In the end, these stories remind us, in every hunt, respect isn't just earned, sometimes it's demanded. Wild boars aren't just quarry, they're formidable survivors, and the real risk is ever present when hunters become the hunted.